Good evening, Dumelang. We are back, another Friday, Inspirational Friday. It's here. And we are talking all things Unfathered Father. Today. We are continuing with Tebogo Sithole. Firstly, I would like to go to Facebook directly and check if my settings allow people to share and view everyone, if everyone is allowed to. So I will exit Tanyani and then I'm coming back. So everything is fine. Everyone can view and comment. Please comment. And I want to check if I'll be able to, what do you call this? If I'll be able to see your comments here on the on our screen. Okay. So yeah, and the other thing is that today we have a special guest. She's going to greet us and she'll be joining us for the rest of our session, but not saying much, but just being there. Thank you for coming back, and I hope that tonight it's also going to be so inspiring as it was last week. Last week, you know what? I was out here, and but I thank God for every information that we get, because we become better through knowledge. So every knowledge that we acquire every now and then, it's very important. And then another announcement that I'm going to make is that remember we had an event, a discussion actually, called Parenting from a Man's Perspective. And we canceled, but after cancellation, a lot of people complained and I had to bring it back. And we found a new venue. A venue is still around Vosloorus, but we are now taking it to the garden. It will be September, spring season, spring vibes, and it will be just a beautiful sunny day in the garden. We will be having braai and the discussion about purposeful parenting. We have 5 topics that we will be touching. It's a parent-to-child relationship. Secondly, we also have I need to check Abuti Tebogo. I need to tag him. Apparently, I did not tag him, and I need to tag him. I need to tag Abuti Tebogo so that the live appears to his screen also. So back to Facebook. Yo, Abuti Tebogo, I can't find that button. That allows me to tag you. I can't find it, and I don't know if, but this post is it's public. Everyone can connect from my side. So we have a comment here. Evangelist Faith Sithole. Thank you for your comment and thank you for watching. I believe that tonight is going to be awesome. So, as I was saying, September we are having Braai in the Garden, talking about purposeful parenting, 200 Rand to be part of the whole event. Then we have gifts. Remember that our first event was sponsored. So this one is also sponsored. We have Evangelist Faith Sithole. She gave us 2 of her books. And then we have Coach Neo Mabileza. He gave us his book, Chronicles of a Fatherless Son. And we also have a book from author Tebogo. And then we have 2 sessions counseling for couples. So you buy a ticket, you choose one gift from those that I just mentioned. So we are having Braai, and also because it will be in the garden, chilled, hot, summer, spring, September, sunny, we are going to have music, not live performance, but that background music. We are playing Afro soul music on that day, 10th September, and you can contact me to buy a ticket. It's only 200 Rand. Contact me on 083 416 5732. Oh, okay. Evangelist Faith Sithole says, Jobe, Mondis. I hope ke buile hantle. So these are the clan names for Sithole. So she also says she cannot wait for the 10th. And then on the 10th, we have our panelist. Abuti Tebogo will be part of the panelist. And then we also will be having Coach Neo Mabileza. We'll be having Mentor Mpumelelo Buthelezi. We will also have our social worker, Mepu Mlankosi. So I don't want to miss that one. And I believe it's a must attend for every. Tell your brothers, tell your sisters, tell your friends. And because it's a parenting session, if you have a child, and if you feel like as an individual, you need knowledge as far as parenting is concerned, you are welcomed to join us. Because as we always say, a child is raised by the community. So when you come and equip yourself about parenting and how to navigate around it, you are also helping yourself to be able and to be capacitated to help those around you, which are parents, and also to be part of the children that are growing in your vicinity. So now I said we have a guest, special one. We have Tebogo Sithole. She's going to greet us because today ready. So she's going to greet us in J. Then we are starting with Abuti Tebogo. Hi, Tums. Hi. How are you?
Guys, my name is Tebogo Sithole.
Mm-hmm.
Ke first born ya Tebogo Sithole. I'm 15 years old. Kira grade
Okay.
9. Ko sekolong se
Mm-hmm.
ba se bitsang Modilati Secondary School ko Stembatere. I'm happy and glad to join you guys in the background as the interviewer Papaga. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, gal. Thank you, gal. And so it's so good to have you here. It's so good. Believe me. it is the first and it is the best. Abuti Sithole, Mr. Sithole, last week, one of the highlights I took from what you were saying, absent fathers don't just affect the child, but it also affects the woman who lost her husband or her partner. And that stuck with me because we have a lot of angry single mothers, bitter, frustrated, stressed out, and nobody understands where the frustration comes from because everyone believes so why are you fighting? Why are you trying to cause drama? Ebile ba ba bitsa di dramatic baby mama. They don't understand who I am not dramatic, but I am wounded. I have a pain that nobody wants to understand.
Sure.
I did not choose, first of all, some of them did not choose to have children. Secondly, she did not choose to end the relationship, So now with all these things, and raising a child is demanding. It requires a lot from you as a parent. So she has to go through all that early one and nobody cares. She's dramatic. This guy, this is what I always say, the most painful thing about being left libana, it's that within the minute motho wa hao a qeta hore ke sharpo, I can't continue anymore. There's a lady who's waiting for him. Already he's in a relationship, no questions, no hassle, no stress. And then when now you have to feed bana, you have to find the name, you have to, like, your life, you need to navigate how you are going to survive that. Finding love is complicated because you have to explain every time you meet someone who, hey, I have two beautiful sons, they're dead, this is what happened. And someone will be like, maybe someone will reject that, given that unalibana, because unali drama mo bana ba leng teng, or motho wa hae mo sietseng ka bana ba itu, So that's what has been stuck with me the whole week. Now, let's talk to you, unfathered father. After you come back from hospital, you are ready to be a father, and already you are stepping in as a father. How is life? What happened? And you can greet us and make sure people who were not here last week, but at least the background of who you are and where you come from.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Greetings to yourself and to everyone that is joining us, on this live. And as well, also let me extend my greetings as well to those that are going to, later on have to engage with this video. As I've been introduced, my name is Tebogo Sithole. I was born and bred in Hammanskraal, in Pretoria, and I'm currently residing there. And I am today with my beautiful daughter, as she already greeted the audience. I am the author of a book titled Unfathered Father. And so this is the book that precisely, tells the pain, the plight, the frustration, the anger, the sense of worthlessness that one had to feel, as a result of growing up without a father. And I will repeat what I said last week. I make a statement in this book, and I say the greatest pandemic and crisis in the 21st century, it is not necessarily poverty, it is not necessarily HIV and AIDS, it is not wars, it is not gender-based violence, but the greatest pandemic in the 21st century is absent father and fatherlessness. And maybe to recap on what we spoke about, last week, most people think absent father and fatherlessness has a negative impact and connotation, particularly to children. But the truth of the matter, like we said, it is not only children who are suffering from when a father leaves, but as well is the mother as well that suffers. And the suffering is not once off, but it's a continuous kind of a suffering. Funny enough, it is that Papa, they are present they are available as long as there's no child. But when the child comes into the picture, then they leave. So not only is the mother paralyzed by the fact that he's losing is losing a husband, he's losing a lover, he's losing a man in his life, precisely because of you, the child. But as well,
Mm,
the fact that after the father leaves, it then becomes difficult for a mother to carry on with their life because of one. So there is also a sense of guilt that comes to a child to say things were fine before before my arrival, but upon my arrival, then my father went to hell, and then they carry on with this kind of a feeling going forward. They feel unloved, they feel unappreciated. Like if your biological father left you, the question that they are stuck with, who will love me if my biological father left me? And as well, this woman as well, she has so many questions because she's like, all along we're fine and all that, but then hey, thing, this guy is leaving me. Sometimes they have a relationship for, let's say, maybe 2 years and everything is fine, but when the child comes into a picture, then the man is willing to leave. And we also spoke about the fact that the mother as well, for her to be able to move on in other relationships, one, she must explain herself over and over and again. She must seek approval. She must prove herself to say, I'm woman enough. The fact that I had someone that gave me a child and left me does not mean that I'm not a woman enough. So it's those frustrations and those confusions that absent father and fatherlessness carries on to breed. So that is why the environment, even when a father is not there, it can never be a conducive environment for growing and
mm,
grooming. They will become responsible adults and contribute positively into the society. Because if you have that kind of a mother who is frustrated, who is angry, the husband or the man because we're not utlile, and when she must carry on and move on into another relationships, she's not able to do so because now they question her womanhood, they question her sanity,
mm.
they question her ability to stay in a relationship. So this whole thing of absent father and fatherlessness, it affects the child, it affects the mother, and it then becomes a continuous thing for both of them.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. I agree with you. Causing moms with purpose. I've had that such discussions and personal stories, and it has been tough, including me. I'm still single
Sure.
because there's a lot of explanation to do. I remember that there was this other guy who was telling me, Hore, immediately you say, I have a child, and this is how old, because he was shocked. Was 18 years, like, you 18. And he was like, it's going to be difficult for you to find a man.
Mm, mm, mm,
it,
mm.
it was so painful, you know. And I'm asking her, why do you say that? Because as a man, every man ubatla, every time you tell them your history, your story, they question themselves as for now, what kind of a woman are you? As far as your story is concerned. You know what? I did not want to defend that because how can I defend it? I'm not a man.
Yeah,
What I
yeah.
said is what I know and believe. I said to him, I don't believe God, who is faithful, who created me, who has been with me through it all, can create someone like me who has an experience that I have and not
Mm.
create anyone else in this world who will be comfortable being with me. I cannot, there are things that happens to us that we cannot change, no matter how much we try. So I'm not going to frustrate myself about who will accept me because God has accepted me
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
I am. So I really, really know who there's a lot of us who have been told that, when you'll never find love and uh so it's fine. I always say God knows best. So he will decide what happens as time goes by.
Definitely,
So now,
definitely, definitely.
yeah. So let's talk about an unfathered father now.
Well, unfathered father, a boy of about 16, 17 years, he finds himself in a position wherein he has to become a father. And he is not becoming a father because he acquired a certain experience of becoming a father. He's young, he's frustrated, he's angry, he's filled with a sense of worthlessness, he feels unappreciated, he feels unloved. And very early in his life, before he can even have a sense of identity, even to identify himself, he finds himself in a position where he then has to become a father. And like I said, when I become a father, I do not only become a father of one, but I become a father of two. So if I decide that I'm going to become a father simultaneously, there and there, I then become a father of two. And
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea of what it is to become a father. I almost grew up in the street, moving from one place to another, moving from one church to another, trying to find survival. I don't even know what is it that he's supposed to do to his children. How is he supposed to interact with them? But then at that point, I'm faced with a situation wherein I have to decide, Madam Speaker. For one, am I going to become my father, or I am willing to redefine my life and to create a new history? Because I remember very well, it was so painful. It is painful to grow up without a father, and that is why there's a clear research that says about 90% of homeless children come from fatherless houses. So it's clear that when a father is absent in the home, it is not conducive. Even children cannot stay, because if 90%
Yeah.
of children who are street kids, then 90% of them comes from fatherless homes. It means when the father is not in a home, the home is not standing. It's not standing, and we saw the reasons why it's not standing, because even the very same woman who are sitting camera to Ashap, there's no way, there's no woman under this earth that can be fine and that can function emotionally, psychologically, and otherwise. Just because and prior to having a child, everything was just going well. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not equipped.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm staying in the street, but then I had to decide at that point: am I going to become my father, or I am going to make sure that I redefine the history and do something that is completely different? And this is exactly the message that I advocate for. This is a message that I push through this book, to say, look, we have a history of absent father, particularly amongst
Yeah.
Black people. We have a history of fatherlessness, but we can decide. Here and now, we can decide on this is a history, but then we need to call it to an end. We should never allow ourselves to see this vicious cycle carrying on in a society, with clear evidence that 63% of suicide comes from fatherless homes, 70% of juvenile delinquency comes from fatherless home, 80% of rape, displaced motivation comes from fatherless home. All these other negative statistics that prove on fatherlessness and absent father is the cause of all all our problems. But, Madam Speaker, the fact that we are agreeing to say we have a problem, but we want to take responsibility, does not automatically equip us. Listen to this. I had the ability to reproduce, but I did not have the ability to father. I reproduced,
Yeah.
child is coming,
Father.
but emotionally, psychologically, financially, and otherwise, it does not mean I am ready. But I had to take a decision that I'm going to be present. But it was a hassle. It was a hassle. It was trial and error, and I had to grow overnight. I had to equip myself overnight. I had to learn. I had to learn. I had to observe, and I had to admit that I am not fine and I need assistance. And I think this is one thing, as men, as a country. I think the beginning point of male is to agree that we made wrong, and we are not equipped. We don't know how to do this. We don't know what it takes to do this, but we are
Yes.
willing. We are willing.
Mm,
And it is willingness that will allow us to be in platforms like this to acquire knowledge. It is willingness that will make us to approach men that are doing it. It is willingness that will make us to have to do research. It is willingness that will make us to even be present. Let us not chelete. Understanding very well that the benefits that present father is not only financial, it's emotional, it's psychological, it's physical. Finance is important. Yes, we'll address that later on. It is important, but it is not the main thing. It's definitely
Yeah.
not the
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you well. I hear you well, because uh, the best way to move forward and find a solution is to admit to rare sharp and
definitely.
find the source of the cause. Why is it sharp? And then find solutions as to how do we address this problem. because as you say, this platform, it's one of the platforms that are trying to address the problem so that we come up with solutions. You know, I love what you said when you say you had to sit down with yourself and say, I'm not okay, but I have to do this thing because already I am in. There's no turning back. How do I become a better father to these kids? You know, how do I not repeat what my dad did? And I believe most men fail to come in terms with conversating with themselves to say, am I going to reproduce where I come from, or am I going to change the narrative altogether? Because as much as ke hotse now without my dad, I know the pain, I know the limitations it brings. And as you say, it's not only finances that children needs to grow up, they need your presence. You've been there already. It brings order, it brings a structure to say, this is how, as a family, re phelang, this is how we do things. I was reading a status on Facebook of one of my friends. She says that her dad did not have a house. They were staying at her grandfather's place. There were rules set by the grandfather. Her dad followed that. He taught them the rules. They followed the rules until today. We are still, whenever we are at my grandfather's place, whenever we are there, we live by the rules that were set by my grandfather. So now that we are talking about how when a father is there, ho tlo ba le low numbers of street kids. I understand hore boteng ba ntate, it's so important that even if you can come home to an empty pot, an empty an empty purse, the fact that he is there, there is order automatically. So going forward, I want you to give us now an experience as you walk. Try to give us the challenges that you faced practically, and also your most highlights, moments that you are still proud of. You know what, as a parent, even though these things didn't lead that are negative, I am proud of myself for 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think, you know, one thing that stood out for me, not standing out as per se, but one thing that I remember vividly was the struggle that I had, you know, of trying to become a husband or a boyfriend
Mm,
to the mother
mm.
of my children,
Oh,
but as well to try as well to come into terms with the fact that I'm not only a boyfriend to this, you know, beautiful woman, but I'm also now responsible, you know, in as far as becoming a father is concerned. I remember
mm,
one other thing that I mentioned previously that happened, you know, in my upbringing, was the fact that I had so much hatred for women, and I had made up my mind that I was going to become a serial killer or a serial rapist or anything like that, because
mm,
the only woman that I knew, the only woman that I had an experience with was my mother. And my mother was not fine as a result of the
mm,
departure of my father. So my first experience with that, with a woman, it's not a good experience. And that is how I will then later on formalize to say all women are not fine, and then they deserve the violence. So but now I'm faced with a challenge of having to love this woman, because I knew for a fact that perhaps the greatest way of loving my children as well was also to love their mother and to be present with their
yeah,
mother. Hear me
mm,
very
mm,
well. I'm not saying it's not possible to love your children and to be present to your children without being involved with their mother. But
yeah,
okay, crucify me if you want. But I'm saying, in my best opinion, I thought it would be more convenient for me to groom and grow my children with their mother. So one, I had to learn to love
mm,
their mother because I'm not groomed and raised to love. Bona, children that grows up without fathers, their chances of loving and knowing how to love, it's very challenged. We don't know how to
Yeah.
love because from the get-go we felt unloved. Why did my father leave me? Why is my mother angry towards me? Why is my mother not fine? So I feel unloved, I feel guilty, I feel frustrated. So I learned to love this one, but then as well I have to learn what it means in a literal sense to become a father. Madam Speaker, Bon, I don't know. I don't
Mm,
know. I've never seen a father. I don't know how to relate to relate to this child. I don't know what is wrong. I don't know what is right. I don't know if everything that I'm doing it's right. And as well, my financial strength as well. It is not as I would want it to be. In fact, I had no strength
mm,
financially at all because
yeah,
Kungwana
yeah.
school
Mm,
even to start with. But the very first thing, then number one, I had to a bucket ya dikuku he ke ya sekolong.
mm,
The
yeah.
bucket ya dikuku, ke rekisa dikuku ko sekolong, ke rekisa di-peanut, ke rekisa maswiti ko sekolong. Why? So that I can come back and be able to buy nappies for my child and be able to buy
Yeah.
them milk and be able to provide for them physically. Emotionally, how to relate with them psychologically and otherwise, I'm still struggling, even spiritual. I have no idea, but I knew that the physical appearance and the physical need, which is more financial, was more pressing. So back at
Mm,
the cuckoo, I had to sell the cuckoo's column, I had to sell peanuts, I had to sell sweets. And
mm,
also as well, the second challenge that I had, growing up in a charismatic church, it was the stigma, it was the judgment, it was the rejection that I
I
got from
know.
people that I expected acceptance and understanding from them.
Mm,
Sometimes the
mm,
biggest challenges tse re kopanang le tsone in life, they do not necessarily come from the situation, but to those people that baba reacting to the situation. Kereke,
yes, yeah.
go khaola, ke dlala di-drums ba nyaka go khaola go kerekeng. There's
Mm,
too much stigma and there's too much judgment. So emotional as well, I had to deal with that as well. So it was the emotional part of it, having to deal with people around me. How do I explain to them that I'm a young person, I grew up without a father, I do not have a father, I do not have a roof on top of my head, then I miss. So it came as if I'm a bit irresponsible. Number two is the financial part of it. I have to make sure that I provide. I remember very well, the mother of my wife, Ari, you know what? And then you need to go because I'm not able to carry on taking care of these children and then now reproducing children. I don't know whatever that is happening. So
I, I can hear her voice. I can hear her voice.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so 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 it was emotional. I had to deal with a lot of emotional bagging. I had to deal with how I relate to my wife, how I relate to these kids, but as well I had to provide for them. And all those things, when they come all at once to a young man that cannot identify himself, that has a low self-esteem, that is not even sure if he knows what he's doing, he's not even sure if he wants to
Mm,
do this. Because remember, initially I had opted for abortion, so it's not like I
yes.
wanted to be in that position initially. So I'm just being here, and I have no idea of what I'm doing. But something in me says, carry on doing it, you will figure it out. So that is how I then started,
Wow.
finding myself along the way. And up to this day, I'm still on that I'm still on that learning curve. And even today, I
Network.
with
Yeah.
with
Your network is sabotaging us.
I'm still in this journey.
Yeah. It's so beautiful to hear you narrate your story like this. To be honest, now I've been inspired since I see you and connect with you on the socials. And last week you just took me far, far, far away, like 18 to 20 years back. And as you narrate how you struggled to find yourself, find who you are, and at the same time be a husband, at the same time be a learner, at the same time be a father, at the same time go to a place where you are told, well, you know what, I think now it's about time you guys find a place of your own. And now again, imagine taking a bucket or whatever you took to school to sell those things, knowing exactly, because look at school and there's a certain pressure that you face. You can't relate. I know this from experience. You can't relate with anyone because when they talk about where they went go weekend or what they are planning, their future, whatnot, you don't relate because I remember someone was saying to me, you will amount to nothing once o na le ngwana ho fedile ka wena, and ha ke etsa matric, someone was like, I doubt she will make it because o na le ngwana. The question I always asked when I was facing all those negative approaches, I used to ask hore na ho ba le ngwana, does having a child make me a disabled person? What happened to my mind? Because ngwana wa ka ha dule ka kelellong ya ka. Ngwana wa ka has nothing. They have never affected how I think. I'm smart, I'm wise, I have the ability to read and write. Having a child has nothing to do with that. I'm not crippled mentally or anyhow. So I get you. West part now, as you say, one of the ntho tse etsang hore re maemo a re imele, to find ourselves overwhelmed, it's the people, how people react. The first thing they judge, the first thing they want to understand, who such a young child, how did you do that? How can you have a child? I remember with my second born, you know what, if it was possible, I just wanted the earth to open so that it swallows me, because a lot of people had opinions, even opinions of how did I have a child, what happened, on which day did I conceive, how. And imagine, as young and fragile as I was, finding such comments from older people. So the truth is, everyone is entitled to make mistakes. If people can get that, I believe we can be more loving and more supportive when someone is going through a situation that we may not understand, you know. So yeah, I really, really relate to what you are saying. And I believe even the case how you are incapable of loving because you don't know how to. Nobody has loved you. Nobody has loved your mom. You are a survivor actually. And I believe most women can attest to that. I remember I once uttered words like, I will never date ngwana nkgono or marry one. Immediately he says, my grandma was the one who brought me up. I told myself, or I'm going to run, because my experience with them, it's exactly how you say it. It's like people who have nothing to lose. Like I lost a lot in my life already. Who are you that I'm going to be to care? I don't care whether I lose you or you stay. This is me, and this is how I'm going to treat you. You staying or you leaving does not change or does not affect me. Like, I get you. And most of it, I can tell I have met such a person. And we did not understand why. We did not understand how can this person come to me, tell me the way they love me, but treat me like this.
Exactly.
You
Madam
see?
Speaker, listen, these people already, they've lost a lot in life. They've lost a lot in life, and their loss was not just a loss that just became a loss and more, but it also created some other things that crippled how they would function going forward. If I lose my biological father, if my biological father deserts me as an infant, then somehow I am emotionally crippled. There's a void that is open in my heart. There is a void that is open in my being that will not just take just anything for it to be closed. It will take a clear admission and a clear understanding that I'm not well and I am not fine. Madam Speaker, absent father, like it in so much negative impact in society in almost all spheres. And today on this platform we are also talking intentional about parenting, and the direct fall and the direct crisis, yeah, parenting, it's particularly absent father, if
Yeah.
particularly for, yeah, and not only for females and not only for males, because most people think absent father as well affects more males than females, because arena
Mm.
problem, yeah, bo mama, they are available, but the research
Yeah,
has
yeah.
proven over and over again that women that grows up without fathers, they develop a
Fathers.
self-sabotaging attitude. They do not know how to appreciate or intention from a man,
Mm, mm.
right? Because there's an opportunity to see the true love of a father. So absent father does not only affect level, but it affects both females and males
And
almost on the same scale. So now let's talk about parenta bana, both of them, they grew up without father. This one does not understand love, does not accept love, is self-sabotaging. This male as well does not know what it takes to lead. So absent father and fatherlessness is a direct crisis and a direct sabotaging, yeah, parenting, because two people that grew up without fathers, or even one, it makes it impossible for them to parent. Like myself, I believe that had I had a father, my parenting skills, how I relate to my kids, and the work that I have to go through in an effort to try and become a perfect father, I would not have had to go through that. I am going
mm-hmm.
through that today because I grew up without a father. I have to figure out how to do this thing, and I have to go an extra mile, and I have to push myself over and over to ensure that I become a father, and to ensure that in my errors, in my trials, I am there. You know, sometimes I tell even my kids, I don't know, you help me, tell me, what do you think? So I have to ask for their opinions. What do you think? How can we do this? Because I don't know, but I have good intentions. I want to be there because I understand that absent father is the greatest pandemic, and it cannot be left to thrive and survive in our society. It cannot.
Yeah. You and yo, no, I hear you well, and I am telling you, Hore, you are. It's like you are reading a book of almost everyone, because, as you say, it affects parenting. It affects, you know, nothing about what's right, what's wrong, how to, when to, what to. And mind you, times have changed.
Yeah,
And when you are coming with zero experience, nothing. A psychology area, children learn through looking at what we
exactly.
do, not
Exactly.
listening to what we are saying. So I can imagine the hustle that you had to, like, you had to work 200% to make sure that you come and practice something that your children can take, something beautiful, something good, something positive. Because when there was no one like that, you had to make sure when you see a man, you learn how he walks, how he interact with other people. Like, everywhere you go, I believe, Hore, it becomes a matter of, I need to live with something here. I need to learn how to, high, as you said, you don't know how when you come back home, what is expected of you. You had to figure it out as you go. Oh, okay, this is how it goes. If they are expecting some plastics, for them to say, yeah, daddy, and I, it's a lot of work. It's a lot.
Madam
Shoo.
Speaker, it's a lot. It's a lot, and particularly talking about parenting and absent father. Remember as well, this thing of parenting, you're not only parenting your kids. You're the own. It's not kids that are in the picture. It's children limabon. right? And remember, if things
Mm-hmm.
are not well between wena and mabona, then there's no way that things can be well between wena and bona, right? Because remember, if you want to lose in the family, lose the mother of children, you automatically lose on children. So if the mother
Yeah.
is happy, then it's easy to transfer that to children. But then now, the poor woman as well is crying for affection, is crying for love from a broke man like me, and I don't know how to give it to her. And that is why sometimes it's easy for us men who are coming from homes with absent fathers to initiate a party, but we can't sustain it. I know that I love you, but when you cry for affection, when you cry for me to do things right, I do not know how to do that. I know I love this woman, but the fact that I love this woman does not mean I am capable of making sure that the relationship runs, because I can't see how to make this thing to work. That is why all the time we come to women, we initiate, I love you, and the following day is the very same man that initiated love into this woman that is coming back and abusing the very same man physically, because he grew up without a father, only behavioral problems, only anger, only frustration. He loves the person, but is not able to relate to the person because there are some internal unresolved issues that are dealing with the person. So I know I love her, but I don't know how to express it. I've never seen anyone expressing it. And even if when I want to express it, the only thing that I harbor in my emotions, it's anger, it's frustration, it's a sense of
Right.
worthlessness, it's a sense of being unappreciated. So this whole thing creates a whole lot of chaos that impacts negatively on parenting. And if I am like that, I am parenting children with a whole lot of chaos as well. I'm also breeding another dysfunctional, another confused, another angry kind of a generation that will carry on to become perpetrators of gender-based violence, that will carry on to become victims of juvenile delinquency, that will carry on to become, drop out curriculum, that will sustain poverty in our society. So it's a lot, and I don't know, but in my best opinion, I think, Madam Speaker, it is almost impossible for one to parent effectively their children without having a good relationship with the mother, especially if they are staying together. So a son like me who grew up without a father, I'm trying to love their mother, but I don't know how to love their mother. I know I love her, but I'm not able to express it. I'm not able to show it. Sometimes she tells me, you don't talk to me, and not because I grew up with most and Kisnapa, but sometimes I feel like I don't want to talk. I get to transfer lady all the time. I don't know if I need to touch all the time. And now children are here, and then it's something else. It is definitely something else.
I guess now it answers why Mujolo is a pandemic.
Exactly.
Mujolo is
Mujola will carry on to become a pandemic because Batobanyaga Mujola is dysfunctional people that have no idea about love. It's because the rate of absent father in South Africa and amongst black people is carrying on to go higher and higher and higher. So you have feelings for this person, I love this person, but once this person are rata, you don't know how to deal with that. But sometimes if you're a genuine person, Lena, she comes from a family, and she grew up without a father, so she's not able to understand and appreciate true love. How wanna true love?
yeah.
So it's so absent father, like I am saying, absent father is the cause of 99.9 of all the problems that we
Yeah.
are faced in this country. So if we want to deal with any problem, the first thing is absent father. Even the ones who are commenting Moffat, they can comment and raise any problem, and I can show a clear correlation between that problem and absent father. Mujolo is still going to become a pandemic. We are still more likely to raise and group children that will become perpetrators of gender-based violence because our society is so hypocritical. Another problem when boys grow up without fathers, but at the end of the day, we expect those boys to become functional and we expect them to become right people in the society. How are they going to become right people when they had no mentors, when they had no direction, when they had no love, when they were not appreciated? We want men and boys to give love to women, but we were fine when they were not given love. Where are they going to be able to produce that? So everything is still going to become a pandemic as long as we are ignoring this thing of fatherlessness and absent father in society. Anything. Look at Maradi Kerek. I can tell you, we are still going to have a pandemic of Bopa Baga
Giving.
Maradi Kerek. have a pastor who was unfathered, and all of a sudden he must father 200 people in the church. How is he able to do that? Because himself he was unfathered. He have that is suffering from Torah. So absent father and fatherlessness is the greatest pandemic, is the greatest crisis. It's urgent as yesterday. I'm telling you. Social development. The problem here, social development, it's absent father. The problem of justice king is absent father. The problem here, sub king. Uber research area, 80% they are crimes. They are the criminals. Tell them what they go to jails. All of them, they come from absent fathers' homes. So what does that tell you? That tells you if fathers are present, then we don't have crimes. If fathers are present, we don't have suicide. If fathers are present, we don't have mental health. If fathers are present, we don't have problems. If fathers are present, we don't have this problem here. Gender-based violence. Because gender-based violence, research has proven for 60 to 70% they come from absent fathers' homes. So everything is a pandemic because of one thing.
Phew. I feel like as a country we need an urgent meeting, because even if we can try to bring other things, what you are saying, it's 100% correct. Correct. Imagine in the whole South Africa, all these celebrations, we celebrate fathers, we celebrate freedom, we celebrate mothers. But the day today, it's Father's Day. Everyone is emotional.
Exactly.
Like everyone is. In my opinion, I will suggest that we have Parents' Day and stop Mothers and stop Father's Day, because there's a lot of wounds that will not heal. Because I've watched a lot of reality shows where children are looking for their parents. Exactly. Most of them are looking for their fathers. And exactly. Guess what? When they find this guy, I remember this lady, she's like, I'm 32, I have my own kids, I'm working, I have a career, but I want to know who I am. I want to know where I come from. I want to know my father. I don't want anything from him. I just want to see him and say few words with him, and then I'll be fine. Guess what happened? When they arrived and found that guy, he said, my wife doesn't know that I have a child, so please stay away from me. I don't want to lose my family because of this person. If they want me, I will arrange and meet with them in a secret place, because I am happy, I am peaceful. Do you understand what does that do to this child?
Exactly. And on that point, I think one thing that I also strongly advocate for, in this book, it's that we have too many dynamics, we have too many complexities when it comes to fathers, particularly in a black nation. It's other women that are involved and all that, but I am saying, and I'm pleading to all fathers and males, so look, regardless of the situation and the circumstance that you find yourself in, if unalingwana anywhere else, just ensure that you reconcile, just ensure that you become present, irrespective. Because look, the fact that you have another family does not mean then must suffer because we're not decided to go and have another family. One thing that we need to understand and appreciate clearly, because children are innocent. Number one, they did not ask to be brought on earth. Number two, they made no application or whatsoever. So once thing, we need to make sure misunderstandings, but whatever that we do must not disadvantage these children and must not allow them to be in a position where they come, they're looking for their father and their fathers are not there. And there is also this nonsensical culture in South Africa that must come to an end. Bana ibe bona ba nyakang bo papa, ikare bana ki bona ba ititseng bo papa and bo papa ki bona ba ititseng bana. I will repeat this. There is a culture in South Africa, a nonsensical culture that must come to an end. Ya gore bana ke bona ba nyakang bo papa, as if bana ke bona ba itseng bo papa, and bana ba itsa bo papa ke bona ba itseng bana. So this thing needs to change. It is fathers that must look for their children. It is fathers that must seek to reconcile with their children, because it's fathers that brought those children on planet Earth. Ke responsibility ya bona. So until this narrative it changes, ya gore bo papa be bona ba nyakang bana bona, then we'll never win on anything, because like we said, the root cause of all the problems it's a direct result of absent father and fatherlessness. And in fact, I'm tempted to say everyone in this country must have this book. Why not? Everyone in this country must have this book. This is a manual. Government must buy this book for everyone. The issue of fatherlessness and absent father must be addressed, because it connects and it affects everyone. In the first place, it's an era that children must go out seeking and looking for their father and pleading that their fathers must be in their life. No, we can never fix society on that kind of a foundation. We can never. Yes, we are bruised. We are pained. But then we need to take a conscious decision to say, this cannot carry on like this. And we need to make that conscious decision and to say, okay, fine. The child is mine. The child is mine. And if I become present, then I am most likely to create a better future, for this child. And going forward, like I said, we should then be able to create, this functioning environment, this functioning society, wherein that will respect women, wherein will have men that will love women for who they are and will not have to suffer. Juvenile delinquency, rape culture, suicide, will not have to absent father.
Yeah, you said mouthful. And as I conclude our conversation, I am going to say to everyone, please raise the book. To everyone, please contact Abuti Tebogo and buy this book. Buy this book and try to find solutions to some of the problems that we are all facing. Secondly, Abuti Tebogo will be part of the panel on the 10th when we are having braai in the garden talking purposeful parenting. So what he did these 2 weeks, and now everyone will have a more clear chance to talk to him directly, Thank you so much, Abuti Tebogo. I will see you at 10. Or before then, anything can happen in between. I might see you before or on the 10th. Thank you so much for your time. Please send my thank you regards to your wife and tell her hore Modimo wa morata. Hey, Modimo wa morata. And then thank you so much from your family and everyone. And Austumelo Kamono hore. Thank you so much, guys, for what you did. Hi, thank you so much. And now next week we are talking about mental health. We will be having a guest that will share his story. Lena, he grew up without a father being present. So next week we are talking mental health.
You see now. There's a new research that is coming out that shows a very clear correlation between mental health and absent father. Look, statistics say about 60% of people that commit suicide, 60% they come from families without fathers. And suicide, we know suicide is one of the highest signs. It's mental health.
Yeah. So next week, please come ready. 6 o'clock, we are talking mental health. I will tell you who is my guest next week, Monday. I believe, Yeah, Monday. Next week, you're talking mental health. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourselves, guys. I love you so much. Thank you for joining us. Until we meet next week, good night and God bless you all. Bye.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Enjoy your evening, and thank you for having me, and also our audience as well. I hope that they will engage, the video as well going forward, and we can have this conversation. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.